Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I wanted to do something really special once again. I've done this before on this YouTube channel and it worked really well. I want to take you inside to a live event that my company runs, promotes every single year called the Entrepreneurs Marketing Conference here in the UK, where we have some of the smartest minds in digital marketing from all around the world come and share their tactics, their strategies on growing businesses using paid marketing, SEO, LinkedIn, and all that good stuff. One paid advertising platform which has dominated the world of paid advertising since it started is Google. It is literally the Goliath of all paid advertising mediums. And I brought two really good friends of mine, Neil Bannister and Joe Kensett from London, to come and speak about it. Now, they run a Google agency, a huge Google agency over here in the UK, and they've done a presentation called How to Dominate the New Era of Google Ads, and I want to share it with you right now. So, without any further ado or waffle from me, let's go live to EMC right now.
We're here today to talk about the sexiest subject in the world of Google Ads. 5 p.m. on a Friday. England is coming home on Sunday. If you're anything like Neil and I and work within any sort of e-commerce and you've done Black Friday, you're absolutely fucked and tired and don't know what day it is. So we're going to do our best to make this kind of talk to you guys as simple as possible. So we're going to be breaking this down into 7 steps. And if you follow these 7 steps, it's going to help you evolve. Before we move into it, I will do a quick kind of introduction to who we are. So we're Neil and Joe. I'm Joe, this is Neil. We run an agency, a boutique-style agency called SV, and we kind of manage around a couple of million spend a month in paid media. So we're here to really try and inject about Google Ads into you. Plus, if you're not running Google Ads, I remember, just before you all put your hands up saying who was running, who isn't. If you're not running Google Ads, this will still be super important in terms of if you want to scale. And the first 2 to 3 points, even if you're having one person coming to your site right now, is extremely important. So let's jump into it.
So the problem at the moment with automated spend and the way Google's going is that it's been on a sliding scale for the last couple of years, where you used to have all the control that you could possibly want. And if you're a guy that loves just getting his head stuck into spreadsheets and dealing with data all day like me, that was great. You could do anything you wanted and you had as much control as you wanted. Nowadays, and in the last couple of years, it's been sliding all the way to take that control away from you as much as possible, and essentially to the point where you have almost no control at all, or even any visibility as to what's working, what's not working, where your people are going, what they're visiting when they're on your site, and how they're engaging with your site. It's just like a black box where you have no idea what's going on. And automation doesn't help you when you don't know what the cohesive journey is from ads and how people are moving from ad to site and then to lead or purchase.
By the way, there's a lady there called, is it Karen? Who's actually, believe it or not, looking at Neil, I used to be a personal trainer many years ago. We've been doing SV now for 6-7 years, who was one of Neil's first ever clients. So
hey, Karen.
The evolution of business is amazing, and moving into different themes. So a really important stat here, in kind of the last year, Google advertisers have wasted 30 billion on unprofitable ad spend. So it's a really interesting stat. The amount of ad spend that's actually been spent is incredible, over 200 billion. But the big point is there's 30 billion unprofitable ad spend, which really kind of means to the point that a lot of brands are leaving money completely on the table.
Oh, that's me.
I was going to be in charge of that, and you said not. So what you're going to walk away from with this, okay, we're going to kind of walk you through 7 steps of exactly kind of what we've done. We're going to actually lead with a brand that we've done this with, because we want to give you a really kind of relative experience to what's going on, rather than just talk facts and throw things at you. It's 5 p.m, it's Friday, you've been here for 3 days, your brain's... the amount of talks, I mean, we've been here today and my brain's already fried from today, so fair play for you for being 3 days. But we're going to walk you through exactly how to do this, exactly how to amplify your Google. Again, if you're not running that right now, the first phase is a super important foundational to get in place. So take take a screenshot of the rest, or at the end we've got a QR code so you can get the slides, and then you can kind of walk through this when you get to this stage if you really want to build this brand. The brand that we're talking about here is a brand we scaled to around 10 million in revenue a year. So I understand that, you know, that might be an aspiration. So it's all relative in terms of where you guys are right now. So
You didn't change the image.
I don't need one. He can have it. No, I don't trust myself with it. God knows what I'll do with it. So this image is exactly what happens when you try and do something around Black Friday and we didn't change the image. That's supposed to be a Google image.
No, that is when you tried a crappy little software instead of using Google
Don't
Slides.
try new software just before. So to give some context to kind of what we're talking about today. So we had a brand come to us and they were like, help, our CPA for our Google is completely out of control. Everything changes in paid media. What was relevant 6 months ago is completely irrelevant today. It's a forever moving landscape, which is so hard to keep on top of. Especially if you're someone like me that is not detail orientated, Neil is, you'll soon get to kind of see our different characters of who we are. It's forever changing and you have to really be in the weeds. Now this brand came to us and they really kind of, their CPA in terms of cost per acquisition for Google for their brand, which was an average order value of around $80, was kind of increasing. It's so hard to, unless you super get in the weeds, it's really hard to understand. You've got all these different things of different sorts of tracking, CPMs, analytics, click-through rates. The one thing that I will always say and have always said in terms of when you're looking at these things is even though people use these fancy metrics, you have to understand that at the very end of that metric is a human being. At the end of a click-through rate is a human being. And in terms of selling, we have to, before we move into anything for a financial gain and get a financial transaction, we have to have an emotional investment first. So remember when you're ever looking at your marketing here in any of these talks, you're advertising to human beings and you have to get the emotional transaction first. So anyway, as we looked at this client, we did what we always do, which is first and foremost, we kind of looked under the car bonnet of this business and Neil talked about what we found.
So, and this, I'm pointing to that one. This is the real problem with automated spend, because the client was like, why am I getting such a bad return on ad spend? Google keeps pushing me to do all of these automated campaigns, dynamic search campaigns, performance max, anything else under the sun, but I'm just not getting results. And as you can see here, when we audited the account, $90,000 of non-brand campaign spend had been delivering to bog standard blog pages that had CPAs over $200. So they're like, why am my CPA $200? It should be more like 15, 20, 25, but now I'm at 200. And the problem is no one really knows where to get this kind of information. And only $300 out of that $90,000 spend had been spent on non-blog pages which had a CPA of $34.
And when we look at ads, you put your money in and there's this kind of big black box that all sorts of things and cogs happen, and then sometimes it spits out dollars at the end, and that can be a profitable campaign. What we're now going to do is walk through the 7 steps that we do to make sure that we understand what's going in that box. And this is what is super relevant to you if you're not running Google Ads, if you're running Google Ads at a super low budget, if you're running any sort of form of traffic, even if that's organic. The first and foremost thing you have to understand is what is your user journey? What is the point if the example that we gave is they're running it to those blog campaigns. What's the point of running it to a blog? Have you got a blog for a reason, or have you just got a blog out of FOMO? Does your blog have an existence in terms of, does it move people to the next phase? That could be acquiring a lead. It could be pushing them to a sales page. It could be even making a sale at the bottom. So we need to understand the purpose of our user journey and where every single point is going and why things exist. It's the same if you look at other forms of media. We need to understand if we're running a video ad, what are we trying to gain out of that? Where are we trying to move someone along that user journey? And again, it comes back to the emotional transaction first before the financial. It's super important to understand emotional transaction but before the financial transaction. Everyone will invest with their emotion before they invest with their hard-earned cash. The exact same reason you're here. You saw it, you thought it will, and hopefully it has helped you solve a problem, whatever that may be in terms of growing your business, and you're here in order, you've given the money to be here to learn that. So really important to understand the emotional balance before the financial balance and really get to the bottom of your user journey. Why are people doing things? Where are people moving? And what is the point of having these certain types of pages? Don't just have it because people say have a blog. Have it for an exact reason to move them through to the next phase.
And that's the same with every page. Every page should serve a purpose, especially if you're spending your money to get people there. And a lot of times, like I said, with Google, you don't know unless you know where to look, where that money is going and where those people are going. So you have to make sure that every single page is serving a purpose to move someone up the user journey. And if it's not, you've got to take it out.
Now, we have these do's and don'ts. After kind of the technical parts. I am not going to stand here and go, number one, make sure all pages have at least one obvious. We're not going to do that. Take a photo of each time we put these up, or at the end you can scan a QR code and you can just have the slides. So after each technical point there'll be one of these. So for user journey stuff, take that photo. They're the do's and don'ts of what you should do. We're not going to go really deep into every point and overload your brains. You can take a photo of each stage, but make sure you understand where people are going, why they're going. Another kind of way that you can look at it, and a way that marketing should be looked at, is it's a little bit like dating. So marketing in terms of, I guess, asking somebody on a date, the brand, the look, the feel, the persona is why someone would say yes. And then when you move to kind of the conversion or the user experience phase, that's why someone will come back. It's the exact same thing in terms of marketing. So you can always use these different analogies, and sometimes it's best to take yourself and your head out of that situation. But along this talk, take the photos of the do's and don'ts because they're super important, and again, just follow each step. Another last thing that's important to say on this slide is we have not touched the Google ads yet. It would be the same if it was Facebook ads. It would be the same if it was TikTok ads. We don't touch them first. We look at what is going on from this user journey perspective before we touch the ads, because if this, you could have the best ad ever, but if you've got the worst blog page, the worst sales page, it will never convert.
And just look at Amazon. Look at how easy it is to buy from Amazon. And the best companies online are the ones that are the easiest to buy from. The ones that really fail with their marketing are the ones that make it so hard, without even realizing, to actually buy a product, or to actually inquire as a lead, or to go through jump through all of these hoops before they're taking the action that's required. So make it easy.
The next one, again, before we get into Google ads, it's not just about Google. If you're trying to really scale and grow, and this is different niches, we work in both e-commerce and lead generation, service-based stuff, and ourselves, we are a service-based business. We're launching our very own first e-commerce this year. Let's see how that goes. But you've got to make sure that a multi-channel approach is more important than ever, especially since the changes that have happened to Google. Everyone's heard about iOS and what's going on over there. Multi-channel is super, super important. And what we mean by that is having ads on different platforms. So it's not just all about Google. You could be driving a ton of people in with Google, but retargeting them on Facebook is super important. If you're not doing that, you're just going to miss a segmented bucket. And again, take a photo of these do's and don'ts.
I will run through these just quickly.
You can run through one.
Just quickly. So, and we'll get to this when we get to the campaign section as well, but make sure you have retargeting set up at least on the major platforms, at least social and ads. Sorry. Go for it.
No, I'm in the photo.
You're smashing their cameras, that's fine. So set up dedicated retargeting campaigns to make sure that as soon as someone hits the pages you want to hit them, you are getting everywhere. And these are super cheap. Even if you only run them on a brand awareness objective throughout the different platforms, they can be super cheap. You're talking £1 a day you can run these ads for on each platform, just to make sure you're getting in front of these customers, and you're almost serving them billboards. You're getting your brand, your mission and your goal in front of them, and your message, so when they are ready to buy, you're there. And just don't have completely different looking ads on every platform, like a lot of people do.
Congruency is super important with kind of everything. So to recap, we have not touched the Google ads yet. We kind of looked in terms of what's going on with the user journey, what's going on with the website, what's going on with congruency, what's the emotional behavior of our users, because at the end of every kind of data point is a user. We're then, from there, we're kind of moving on to the next phase, which is kind of really understanding that it's a multi-channel approach right now. We have to look at multi-channel approach. There's lots of other nuances that go into this. For example, if you're in e-commerce, are you doing kind of checkout abandonment emails and all these different things? But it's not until we've gone through those phases, and this is why if you're at the moment not running Google Ads or running on a low budget, we always want to nail this. The e-commerce brand that we're launching this year, we are going to nail this stuff before we pump any traffic into it. Because you've got to think of this phase as you're filling up a bucket. That old analogy that if you've got holes in it, the water will just go out. You can put more and more ad spend into there and you just give yourself a really expensive headache. So we have to go in and fill that bucket, fill the holes to make sure that we're getting the best conversion possible.
That was actually my slide.
No, I said I was having it.
So I wanted to recap on this slide, just where we're up to at this point, because next slides are going to be Google. So right now, up to this point, we haven't touched Google. We've optimized all the pages to give multiple routes through the conversion funnel on each page. So all the blog traffic all the blog pages that were getting traffic, we've optimized to move people through to a sale. We've implemented social and GDN retargeting campaigns to plug drop-off in the funnel. So as soon as someone hits the website, as soon as someone adds something to checkout and don't buy, they get specific messaging trying to move them up the funnel. We've optimized the checkout process, increased the cross-sell and upsell routes on the page to increase the average order value, because we all know advertising is getting more and more expensive. If you're trying to sell super low AOV items, it's going to get harder and harder and harder on your margins. If your CPMs swing 5% either way, you're going to be in trouble. And we made sure all checkout abandonment, email flows and lead gen flows were optimized to make sure that we get the most of every single person coming through. And now we get onto the Google Ads. Now this is potentially the most obvious slide in here.
I don't know with some of the things that we audit, but
I mean, almost all of the accounts that we audit have a problem with tracking. Now we like to break down our tracking into two main conversion elements. Macro conversions, which is the main thing that you're looking for. It's a purchase, it's a lead, or it's a converted lead into a sale if you're in a service business. And your biggest lever to pull with automated campaigns is always the amount of data and the quality of data that you can get in. So do you have your macro conversion set up properly, and you actually cross-referencing to make sure they're getting the data properly? And do you have your micro conversions set up a second ago? The micro conversions are what we call things like key page views, so someone hitting a checkout page view. It might be someone clicking the phone number on your website or the email link on your website or something along those lines. They're not enough to really say, yes, this person is a purchase or a lead, but they're giving you an indication of the quality of that person. And do you have enough data coming in to make automated campaigns work? In all honesty, if you're not getting 50 conversions a month, you're going to struggle with automated campaigns because you're just not getting enough data into the system to really make it work. So, most important thing is just make sure your tracking set up correctly. If anything, make sure you're tracking purchases correctly and that you're cross-referencing. And do not start any campaign at all, like no campaign, unless you have at least that macro conversion tracking in place and you verified it's correct.
And continue to verify it as well. We've seen many things.
If you are struggling with it, because it can be a tiny bit technical, people can do it on Upwork and Fiverr for next to, once you know how to do it, it's not complicated. The campaigns. So, getting on to the more technical Google-based things now. So the campaign setup we used to try and turn this client around, we started new performance max campaigns to take advantage of the new automated campaign type when it first came in. We built new exact and phrase match search campaigns with a single keyword ad theme format. And what that basically means is if someone is searching for a particular keyword, we'll have that in an ad group and we'll have a very specific ad for that keyword that speaks directly to that keyword. Yes, it's more work, but yes, it works and it increases the relevancy. And if someone's searching for something and you can give them the answer within that Google ad, it's going to work way better than setting up one big campaign with loads of broad keywords and putting in some generic ad copy. We developed dedicated remarketing campaigns on search, display and social to focus on building the ecosystem, so every single person that came through we could build that personal relationship with. And we kept them running, right? Because Performance Max and automated campaigns are not designed to replace the other campaigns. Yes, they can take impressions away from them if they have a higher ad rank, but they're not designed to replace them entirely. They're designed to be accessories and to give you another option to scale and grow. But they do replace Smart Shopping. You can't run Smart Shopping anymore. And then to kickstart the Performance Max campaigns, we started with remarketing audience signals. So who has anyone played around with Performance Max yet in Google? Awesome. One. It is worth doing. It is worth doing, guys.
Moving that way.
It's the way that Google are moving everything to, because it's so easy, right? Because you don't have to sit there with your head in a spreadsheet, moving CPCs up 2p here, 2p there, and everywhere else, which I actually really like doing, but
I couldn't think of anything worse.
So you get to giving them an audience signal, which allows them to go and find people who are like that, essentially like lookalike audiences in Facebook, but it gives them a starting point. We downloaded all the purchases that had made a purchase of this supplement, and we put it into the audience signal, and that gave Google as much data as we possibly could to start with. We adapted all shopping feeds to make them more appealing and more in line with what people would search, expanding the volume, and did price research on competitors. So when you've got shopping ads running, how many people have run shopping ads on Google? You work for us. Doesn't count. Beautiful. So a couple. So shopping ads are great in the fact that they're super easy. However, a lot of people, when running shopping ads, when they upload a product to their website, it's whatever the product title is on their website and the description and everything else, and that gets moved over to Google, and it doesn't fit the shopping feed, and it just looks boring and basic, and you can adapt it and you can change it. It does make a massive impact. And obviously pricing. If you do your competitor research and you search for what you're selling, and your competitor is 20% cheaper than you, for the same product, they're going to get the traffic, and there's no point in running Google shopping on that unless you can differentiate yourself from that competitor. And then the Performance Max structure that we used. So we split up all of our best sellers and high volume item campaign products into one campaign. We set the bid goal to maximize conversion value and broke down all the asset groups via product subcategory. So essentially you're controlling, because Performance Max you can't control anything. You can control your budget, and that's pretty much it, which is why we segment and separate the campaigns. Campaigns 2 to 5 was a new campaign for each major product category, with a target price bidding, which I won't go into. That's if not many of you have run Performance Max before, but broke down the asset groups via product subcategory again. So again, we had that control and we had that ability to move budgets up and down. And then we created simple audience signals to run alongside the retargeting signals. So do take a photo of that. I promise you, if you haven't run Performance Max yet, you will if you do Google in the next 2 years. So do take a photo. Yeah. And it will come in handy. You might have to scroll back through your memories and stuff to find it.
And again, if you haven't, and you know, some of this can be quite overwhelming, but when you start, it will complete make sense and you can come back to it. Again, we do have a QR code on the last, so you can get the complete slides and have them for yourself. We'll hang around as well afterwards. You can ask us any kind of questions, but it will make complete context. And again, this is exactly what we did with this brand. This is taken exactly when we discuss talking and when we do talks, we always, rather than just going into theory, we like to give real examples. So the steps we're through are the exact steps we made with this one brand.
We're almost there, guys. We've got 7 steps. We're at step 6, and we're way behind on time, ahead of time.
Yeah.
So
that is often the case.
Optimization, and this is why Performance Max is going to be so good for everyone who's new to Google. As long as they get the first 2 phases right, is you don't have to optimize things. You don't, like I said, you don't have to be in there every day moving CPCs here and there. You just let it run. If it works, it works, and if it doesn't, you change creatives. and you move your budget controls up and down on your campaigns, but there's a ramp-up period with automated ads, and for the first 4 weeks, you just leave it. Obviously, if you're getting absolutely nothing in, and you're 3 weeks in, and you've got nothing, you can turn it off, get back to the drawing board and start again. But it's most important that you have all your prep sorted, you have everything, you put all of your time, effort into setting it up correctly and getting good creatives. Creatives that work on socials as well, more importantly, because they will also help. If you've got something that works on socials, you've got a better chance than working on Google rather than starting from the drawing board. And then just let it go. Let it go for 4 weeks, and in 4 weeks' time, you'll start to see some data. The algorithm will learn. It's a completely different algorithm for Performance Max than anything else on Google. So you let it learn. You let it do its thing, and then in 4 weeks, you start moving the budgets up and down on what's working well and what's not. So just don't touch or tweak anything. Simple. Really easy. And it's probably going to put us out of business because no one will want an agency.
That is actually true.
It's going to be too easy. Now, creatives. Google asks you for a load of assets. Add them all, but take your time with them. Don't rush them. Don't just put any old thing up. Take your time with them and really kind of have a look at what's working on socials, like I said. Have a look at what your audience is engaging with and give them everything that they require. Google can make videos for you. They don't generally perform well, but they do sometimes. But you're always better off leveraging things like social proof, getting video testimonials from your clients, especially you guys in the service business as well. Social proof works extremely well there because not many people do that well. Add all the extensions like you would in any kind of search campaign, and all of our images and videos for this client contain primarily offer-heavy, branded creatives or authentic social proof, and we've basically built it upon those creatives. And our search ads, okay, how many of you run search ads? There's got to be a few more. Beautiful. Okay, cool. So I'll touch a little bit more on search ad copy. So search ads focus on testing different CTAs, offers, benefits, and features. How many times do you Google something and then see the most boring ad just coming back at you? And that's not what you want to see. People want to see some kind of character, of personality, it's something different to stand out. And you'll see the relevance scores will go up as long as you're keeping within the guidelines of making sure that you're answering the keyword that they're searching. And if you're running a single keyword ad theme format, you'll have high relevancy scores 8, 9, and 10 anyway. And then start really testing different call to actions, different offers that you can run. Remember, people don't like to give an offer, but if a 10% off offer decreases your CPA by 20%, 25%, and makes you stand out that little bit more, you're going to make more money because you're essentially spending less to get those leads and purchases. And really nail down on your benefits and features and your unique selling points. Really, Google search, you have very limited characters, so get creative with it. Especially outside of Performance Max, which you should be running search campaigns anyway. Outside of Performance Max, you can get all the data on what's really working well and what's not, and then move those winners over to Performance Max. So just take your time with them. Don't reinvent the wheel and don't have different styles of creatives for each platform. Keep it cohesive, keep it branded, and build that kind of presence and awareness, especially in the retargeting aspects. So the results.
And again, the time period is probably a relevant thing. So this was over like a 9-month time period. We don't expect someone to be able to do all these steps over time. It's a congruent process. When you do the step 1 of understanding your user journey, you will see an increase in volume of leads or of sales. You'll see an increase of your average order value moving up. So this result, which is not typical, it's an amazing result to spend 270k and get 8 odd million back. It's amazing. But each of these steps add towards it over time to try and increase it and nudge up. I don't know if you want to touch any more on the results.
No, I mean, as you see, CPAs come right down, so that's no laser pointer on this one.
No.
CPAs come right down, that's a 439 in the middle. Return on ad spend, this is for the account as a whole. As you can see, we're running different types. I'll get in your photo now. Different types of campaigns, as you could probably not see up there. So that's the account as a whole. The Performance Max one is this one here, which is at 44 return on ad spend, versus the dynamic search campaigns before, which were at a 0.21. So massive difference in results. And really, I would say almost all of the progress was made in the first 2 points of this slide. The rest of it was just the icing on the cake that really made it take it forward. Because if you're spending money sending people to pages that might be relevant but have no real way of moving people forward, of getting people through the purchase journey, then you're essentially wasting your money, especially on Google, where CPCs are generally very high.
So in terms of like your next steps, and this is a slight kind of going over of what we've done, and feel free, the cameras come out to take a photo. I'll stand in the middle so don't get shouted at again.
Don't stand that close, you make me look short.
So these are kind of your next steps to really go through. Again, I know I've said this a few times, to reiterate, if you're not spending a lot, but you have a website, step 1, step 2 are so important. Like, you can spend so much time on step 1 and 2 in really understanding what is your website doing, where is it moving people, and how is it converting people to the next stage of the funnel or to the conversion point, whether that's getting a lead, whether that's making a sale. It is so important to go through that. Again, think of it in terms of that bucket analogy. And then number 2, make it easy for people to buy. Really make it super, super, super easy. There's a stat out there that the average reading age in the UK is 11 years old. If you add on top of that the fact that we're all rushing around on our phone, we never, double check things, we've got 1,000 things happening on our phone, and a lot of this happens there, or even at your Mac or desktop or whatever it may be, you have to make it extremely easy for your customers to buy. And what may look easy to you and simple to you may not be simple to them. So, use the resources that are out there like Fiverr to get other people to look at them and really understand.
There is a great website, I can't remember what it's called, that will put like 100...
That's good for them. It's a great website, I can't remember what it's called.
Google it. You can get 100 people to go to your website, and they'll screen record and kind of tell you what's wrong with it and what they didn't like, and then you can get a general consensus. I'm sure lots of people know what it's called. But we wanted to give you these kind of 8 steps, actionable steps, because ultimately you come to these events and you see and hear and talk, and there's so much going on. You're taking so much information. It's like, where do I even begin? There's 8 steps there. Obviously very broad, there's only so much you can do in 45 minutes, taking people through Google Ads and going through the more technical aspects of it, but 8 things to really focus on in order to set up some Google campaigns that will really improve your results.
So if you need anything else, you're supposed to change that slide as well. Scan this QR code. So we said it in the program, like we're happy to help. Our whole philosophy, and we've gone from both of us owning service businesses in the fitness industry to now, we have SV, and then we do a lot in the e-commerce space, etc. We're completely happy. Scan the QR code. You'll go to a page. You can fill in the form.
Same QR code in the brochure.
Or in the brochure, either or. They both are fine. And you will move to the same page. From there, you can fill in a form. If you fill in the form, we'll jump on. We'll try and help out as many people as we can. And you'll also get all the slides, etc. from today. Other thing you'll get is our email address, and you can literally ask us at any time. I don't know if we're allowed to finish early.
We're going to have to...
It's a Friday treat for you.
We're going to have to do karaoke. Sing Tragedy or something.
That's all for us, guys. But yeah, the first thing to really hit home is those points 1 and 2. Really understand the user behavior of exactly what's going on and make it easy to buy.
Thank you.
Joe and Neil.
Hey, and that's it for this video, guys. Listen, I really hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a little comment below with any sort of tips and tricks that you picked up there, and ask me any questions. You know you've got to like this video. You know you've got to subscribe. You know you've got to hit the bell. My name's Matt Wilson. I'll see you in the next video.